I just feel like this is also a sucking in where, they get you thinking that way and it just goes, and it's relentless. When we look at patterns, this is clearly a pattern down here, a bottoming pattern. I open a chart and I say to myself, is this a downtrend? Is this an uptrend? This has been, just riding a path of least resistance. This is in a clear, nice channel. I don't really see any, and that's what I always say, you have to wait for evidence. If you think this is going to turn, there's just no reason fighting it every day. You have to wait for evidence. The market will give you, a thing where it says, okay, we tested the upside and now, we can't go any further. We know where the high is. We know where the risk is. So there are times where the market kind of gives you these indications of when it's over. We don't have to guess. We don't have to watch some moving average, on a 15-minute chart. Right now, the S&P is just tracking within this beautiful kind of, little channel here. And, maybe we got to go and bang the upside of this channel at 44. It just hasn't shown any signs of turning. And even if it did today, even if, you got something like this, to me, this still wouldn't be an evidence of a top. So we don't really see an evidence of a top. This is climbing a wall of worry. And yet when we look at certain areas, some supply right here, we're really literally at the moment of truth, on the short term and the long term. And so, the question is, has this market bottomed? And it's at this point, it's kind of looking like a legitimate question. There's been this bottom here. And so, we took off ever since then. So the question is, we're still in this kind of lower highs environment. So we still have this trend line and we are still somewhat in a down market. You can see, look, we are now just literally at the moment of truth in so many, areas here. So, again, that's kind of the beauty. The markets will tell us if it's, going to fail here, and it should fail extraordinarily. You want to see some kind of failure or some kind of pattern. To me, the market always changes when we see a pattern. So it goes up here and then we see a pattern and a failure and then the turn. And so right now we don't see anything. We don't see a failure. We don't see a pattern. We don't see anything. This is just going higher until it doesn't. And it will tell us when it's over, if it is going to be over. But to my mind, that should happen pretty quickly. It should happen somewhere in this area. If it doesn't do one thing, it's going to do another. Now, I've been kind of operating under the thesis this is a bear pattern. There's been significant bear patterns, but then if the market starts busting those patterns, if they start busting the implications of those patterns, then, it's going to go the other way. And so we're really right there. We're banging right there. We're banging the underside of this, ascending, broadening thing. And, I don't know, even by going this high, this is it. It should stop here, or, we're into a new bear, bull market. And, it's entirely possible. The trend is higher. This could be just a continuation. This could be just a bull pattern here. But, I just feel like this is also a sucking in where, they get you thinking that way and it just goes, and it's relentless. And, but again, there's nothing to show us yet that this thing is going to turn. Right now, this thing is going higher. And, we have to kind of respect that. You fight that at your own. So you either get with this thing and find, some risk rewards to the upside, or, just don't fight it. So I bought some, long-term put options on the Dow. I've still got 2 months to see if that thing's going to roll over. But, right now I'm not feeling that terrific, because even this trajectory suggests that, we're not just going to go down. We're not going to just take all of this stuff out. I just don't see it. You can see, and there was in this area, we did come down pretty quickly. So, the thing is, what is going to be the catalyst for that? I mean, things seem to have calmed down. Inflation, the 10 years, like now at 2.7, it was 3.5. Things seem to have calmed down. Walmart, Target producing, better than expected earnings. So, but, you can't think that way. The markets, reach certain valuations, and maybe they're seeing that earnings in the fall will start coming down. So we can't really read right now. The path of least resistance is higher. I don't see any evidence of a turn. And, what I'd want to see by the end of this week, certainly, is if this is going to be a resistance, is this should get rejected pretty hard in here. That would start giving me the first sign that, this is it. And watching the IGV, and this was the struggle for me, because IGV hit its target. And so this is the IGV. This is the tech software index ETF. And this was the first one that really rolled over. This was the first one that gave us an indication of the rollover in the market. This started peaking out, before the general market. It kind of did this head and shoulders, and then it also had this ascending broadening. And then to me, when it broke here, I kind of speculated that we would come exactly back to the beginning of this thing. And the thing is, it did. It fulfilled the tenets of its pattern, and now, it could certainly bounce from here. So when I look at this, I mean, to me, this is still really in force and effect. I mean, a head and shoulders top is a top, which should imply that this market's topped and will eventually go lower. And so, again, I just bang my head every day, is it, will it? And you can see now we are just literally testing these limits. We're starting to break out on the SMH. We're starting to, break out certain things. And it's, the evidence is starting to pile up that this thing is kind of turning around, kind of got this triple bottom. It was this rectangle bottom here, but you're still in this cadence of lower highs. So this is kind of the will she, won't she kind of breakout. And we're literally here. The market is going to tell us. I just would like to get some kind of break instead of chasing it, because you've gone straight up. You've gone from 260 to 320. What is that? 60 points, 23%. And that's typically a bear market rally. Now, sometimes you get 40 and 50% retracements. You can come here and still be there. So, this is right where she should stop if you're going to roll over.
What about Snowflake? It's opening. It's opened up $6 down today.
Yeah, you see, I mean, these things all look good, but I have this feeling that, you might get this other wave starting to kick in. And Snowflake is one of those things where, yeah, it looks like you're trying to get off the bottom here. I am struggling right now with where the market's at, where it's going to go. How much do you want to follow these stocks that have already had a pretty good move? And this is the problem. It's like I was looking at Snowflake yesterday. I was like, should I buy this thing? And I just, have this inhibit, So, I mean, on one hand, we're starting to see signs of a time turnaround. This doesn't really look like it's going to go straight down. But you've had a very profound downtrend. Typically, you don't just turn these things around in 2 seconds. It takes a while to turn. So this may just be consolidating, and maybe, it's a buy the dips, type of situation. But this is what I'm struggling with Airbnb. They both kind of look like the same thing, where you've broken out now. And the thing is this kind of like a kind of a bear trap, where all of the bears are going to be trapped when this thing starts going the other way. Airbnb looks exactly the same thing, where it broke these historical lows, and now you're sneaking back up to the breakout. And now the question is, are we going to go back up? I don't know. This is where, again, which are the real patterns? Is it, this massive kind of, double top, these or are we starting to, turn this U-boat around? But to my feeling, it should take a lot longer, even if this is going to turn around. When you go down this dramatically, you don't just go back up.
So you can see, 45 is 1.3 million.
$1.3 million short.
So pop out a profit for 118,000 there.
So you can see how this is going crazy now. You can see how the market just going nuts.
I bet like $1.6 million on this position. I'm showing right now $23,000 gain.